Hi, everyone. Yes, we have 51 folks joining us on Zoom. Thank you all for attending and for folks who joined us in person. I'll let the stragglers find their seats and then we'll get started. All right. My name is Kat. I'm the RTAG facilitator, and I'd like to welcome you all to our September general meeting. Next slide, please. This public meeting will be recorded. The MBTA may choose to retain and distribute the video, still images, audio, and/or transcript. By continuing attendance with this virtual public meeting, you consent to participate in a recorded event. If you're not comfortable being recorded, please turn off your camera and keep your microphone muted, or you may choose to excuse yourself from the meeting. Next slide. Zoom directions for our ASL interpreters. Our ASL interpreters today are Sandy Ligren and Alicia Brand. The Zoom host will spotlight the interpreter's videos. In general, to pin someone's video in Zoom, find the person's video in the gallery. In the top right corner of the interpreter's video, click the ellipses, then click the pin option. This will keep the person's video visible on your screen. Zoom directions for CART captioning. Our CART captioner today is Denise Gracia. To access, in the meeting controls toolbar, click Show Captions. A tip is to click and drag the captions to move them where you want them in the meeting window. To adjust the caption size, in the meeting controls toolbar next to Show Captions, you can click the up arrow, click Caption Settings, and next to font size, move the slider to adjust the caption size slider. If you have a technical question about Zoom or the features of the meeting, please use the chat function. Our technical assistant will attempt to troubleshoot your problem and get back to you. All right, our agenda for today's meeting, we'll start with an RTAG update, followed by system-wide accessibility updates given by Laura Brailsford. Then we will have a brief discussion and feedback period following system-wide accessibility. Then we will have the ride updates given by Michelle Styler, followed by a discussion and feedback session for the ride, and then some closing remarks from myself. Aw, that's me. There's a nice picture of me on screen. Okay, cool. So just some notes for folks, not many today, but I wanted to say thank you for those who are joining us for the first time. RTAG is a community-based advocacy group that advises the MBTA on transportation matters impacting people with disabilities and older adults. Some history for our new members. In 2002, a group of 11 riders in the Boston Center for Independent Living, represented by the Greater Boston Legal Services, filed a class action lawsuit against the MBTA called the Joanne Daniels-Feingold et al. V. MBTA. The lawsuit led to the Daniels-Feingold Settlement Agreement in 2006, which improved accessibility and reinforced the Americans with Disabilities Act principles at the MBTA. In 2018, the MBTA reaffirmed its commitment to the settlement by entering an amended agreement, clarifying remaining obligations and establishing a compliance evaluation plan. This agreement also led to the creation of RTAG, tasked with holding the MBTA accountable for maintaining ADA compliance even after the agreement ends. I wanted to share with folks a little bit about a working group that RTAG has created called Shared Spaces. I've shared a little bit before, but again, we're a coalition of individual advocates and members from Boston Center for Independent Living, RTAG, Transportation for Massachusetts, Walk Massachusetts, Boston Cyclists Union, and Mass Bike. We organized a site visit recently to bring together individuals from the city and provide them with a firsthand understanding of the limitations and potential conflicts of shared spaces, including bike lanes, sidewalks, crosswalks, and bus stops. This initiative is aimed at promoting more informed decision-making. Additionally, the visit facilitated relationship building between our communities, allowing for a more authentic and accurate experience of these shared spaces. I have copies of the actual site visit report in person if anybody is interested in having one. I can also drop a link in the chat after I'm finished giving this update. We have included photos and also can provide more examples if that's helpful. We recognize that some of our recommendations outline ideal scenarios. However, any improvement to roadway safety benefits all users. If achieving the ideal is not possible, we should still take action. Slowing down all users minimizes harm in case of conflicts. And I was just going to say that the RIDE has launched a new transportation software management system called SPARE on August 30th that many of you know about. This new software excitingly features several enhancements, including more efficient scheduling, an improved trip booking experience, and additional options for customers to manage their profiles and track their trips. You will hear a lot more about that today, and changes you might experience as a customer during today's RIDE presentation by Michelle. And that's all I have. Next slide. Sure. What was that? A new link? I haven't, but maybe we can follow up later. Great. All right, next slide, please. I am going to hand it over to Laura Brailsford to give some updates for system-wide accessibility.
All right, thanks so much, Kat. Good afternoon, everyone. As Kat said, I just want to also thank you all for joining us this afternoon. There are only a few days left in what is technically still summer, so appreciate you spending some of those hours with us. I'm Laura Brailsford. I'm the Assistant General Manager for System-Wide Accessibility, and I've just got a few updates I wanted to share with you this afternoon. And on the screen is actually a great new photo we have of one of our travel trainers from the Mobility Center walking alongside one of our customers who uses a white cane to navigate a station. All right, so next slide. So the first two updates I want to share are not directly accessibility related, although they're notable news for all of our riders, and I wanted to make sure RTAG had this information as well. The first has to do with the fact that just earlier this week, we officially began fare checks using fare engagement representatives throughout the system. So this effort actually dates back to last October, for fare engagement representatives. This is a new job classification with the MBTA. Have been on hand at various stations to assist riders with questions about fares, as well as actually paying the fares themselves. And this week, just 2 days ago, the enforcement kicked in. So starting this week, the representatives are now issuing formal warnings and sometimes citations to riders who have not tapped at a fare gate or fare box throughout the subway system. And on the screen is an image of one of our new fare engagement representatives wearing a blue shirt with a yellow badge, speaking with a customer. Next slide. So to give you a little bit more detail here, here's what you can expect. In the event that someone does not pay their fare, and that this is observed by a representative, they will simply ask you to do so. If you choose not to pay your fare, staff will then ask to see your ID, to record it, and issue you either a written warning or a citation with a fine. If you choose not to present your ID, staff will enter the information they have available into their handheld MBTA issued device. And then after you have received that warning or citation, you will be free to continue on your journey. If you refuse to pay after getting the citation, you will be asked to leave the station. one thing that the team who developed this new staffing plan and these new protocols was very mindful of is making sure that these representatives had the ability to meaningfully interact with all customers they are working with. So with that in mind, these staff are going to have access to an app that allows them to bring up a sign language interpreter if needed, if they're interacting with a customer who relies on sign language interpreter, as well as the ability to use Google Translate to communicate effectively with folks whose first language is not English. Also, all of these staff receive training developed in part by System-Wide Accessibility on interacting in a respectful and appropriate manner with people with disabilities. Next slide. And I should mention that the Fair Engagement team has offered to join RTAG at our next monthly meeting to talk a little more in depth about the program and answer any questions folks may have. All right, so the next update is that we are excited to announce that our operations team is extending hours of operation throughout our subway service on Fridays and Saturdays. So specifically, service will extend by about an hour on Fridays and Saturdays. And then on our bus network, 7 days a week on our top five frequent bus routes, which include the route 1, 15, 22, 23, 28, and 31. Service will also be extended by about an hour on Fridays and Saturdays. And then on additional 8 routes, on the additional 8 routes, service will be extended by about an hour. And on those first 5 routes, service will be extended 7 days a week. And then we're extending service hours on our ferry service as well, just on Fridays and Saturdays, and only through the month of September. So if you're in the mood for a late night ferry ride, you've only got a couple weeks left. Also, to really promote this new extended service, all subway lines, bus routes, ferries, and commuter rail lines, along with ride trips, will be free on Fridays and Saturdays, beginning at 9 p.m. During the weekends of September 12th through 13th, September 19th through 20th, the 26th through 27th, and October 3rd and 4th. So again, we're trying to encourage people to get out there, use the late night service, tell us what you think, and we hope that is a success and helps people get to where they're looking to go for more hours throughout the day. And you can find out a lot more details about this on our website. Next slide, please. All right, and then this had not yet happened as of our last RTAG meeting, so I'm really pleased to report that on August 11th, Natick Center Station opened with full accessibility. This was a major undertaking, really a full station upgrade, delivering best-in-class accessible service. So the station now includes full-length, high-level platforms, multiple accessible paths of travel to each platform with a combination of elevators and ramps, updated public address and digital display information, and all sorts of amenities. So there was a great ceremony to celebrate the opening on the 11th, and for folks who have not yet had a chance to check out the station, please do. And on the screen, there's a couple photos of the new Natick Center platforms with canopy coverage there. All right, and it is worth noting that Natick caps off a very busy year in terms of station upgrades. It was actually the 11th station to receive major accessibility upgrades just in 2025 alone. And if I can get the next slide, I just want to show you how this is playing out. So we here at the MBTA have been very focused on advancing our plans to making sure that we provide accessibility at each and every station, both on our subway system as well as the commuter rail system. And we talked about this earlier this summer around the ADA anniversary, but if you look back in time to 1990 when the ADA was passed, only 21% of our stations were accessible. Today, thanks to all of the work that's going on, including Natick, the work at Natick, 83% of our stations are now accessible. And while obviously that's a big improvement, what's really exciting is if you look just 5 years into the future, we're going to be at 93% accessible stations, thanks to all of the work we have in the pipeline, both on the Green Line and commuter rail. So we're not going to stop until we're at 100%, but we're really looking forward to rolling out more upgrades in the next few years. All right, next slide. Okay, and just one other initiative I wanted to make you aware of. Certainly, making inaccessible stations accessible is great and critical work, but equally important is making sure the accessible stations we have remain reliable and available. So we've started approaching the way we upgrade elevators a little bit differently. We're working on an accelerated refurbishment program where we are going to be tackling some of our oldest and least reliable units by going in and essentially replacing the guts of the elevators to improve their reliability. These repairs take about 8 weeks, which means that particular elevator is out of service for 8 weeks. If needed, we'll provide a bus shuttle to bridge you to the next accessible station. And we just wrapped up work at a station at our Braintree station. And the elevator at Park Street, 808, that connects you down to the Green and Red Line lobby, is out for upgrades as we speak. And the next line includes the elevators at Chinatown, State Street, and more units at Park Street and Downtown Crossing. These upgrades are designed to be quick and really tackle the reliability challenge. We're also, in parallel to this, continuing to advance the full modernization of a number of other units. And with those projects, you're going to end up with bigger elevators with a lot more transparency to elevator call panels in each unit, really best-in-class modern units. But the reality is those projects take much longer and are more expensive. So this effort on the screen here is designed to move quickly and instill more reliability in our oldest units. All right, next slide. So just to wrap up here, I always like to remind folks that there's all sorts of ways to stay up to date in between RTAG meetings, and even more importantly, to let us know if you have a question or have had a less than stellar experience on our system. You can call our main call center number at 617-222-3200. For anyone using TTY, you can use the standard 711 number. You can also reach out to our mobility center if you're interested in trip planning or interested in travel training. And their number is 617-337-2727. And then certainly online, we have tons of resources at mbta.com, accessibility, including a semi-annual report that goes into detail about all of the different accessibility projects underway. Next slide. Next slide, and I think that is it. Yes, I'm happy to take any questions or comments folks have.
Okay, great. I am going to sit just so I can look at my laptop at the same time and see folks who are raising their hands on the screen. But for folks who are in person, please raise your hand or indicate that you'd like to ask a question. Please wait for our assistant to hand you the microphone. And if you're using ASL, please stand if you can. We may ask you to adjust your location so that the online interpreters can have a clear view of you. Next slide. And for people on the Zoom or calling in the Zoom controls, click reactions, then click raise hand. Participants can also raise or lower their hands with these keyboard shortcuts. On Windows, you can click the Alt and Y keys, and on Mac, you can click the Option and Y keys. And for participants calling in by phone, you can click *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. And I will start with anyone in person, if anyone has any questions for Laura.
Good afternoon. About the ride,
Oh, we're going to hold off for ride for now.
on the ride, okay.
Thanks, Kathy. Any other questions specifically for fixed route service or anything that Laura shared?
I noticed that at Jackson Square, a number of the places that you would normally have a bench to sit on, the benches got removed. So it's not too bad because Orange Line is now like 5-minute headways most of the time. So I don't know if it's a high issue or not.
So I may have missed the second part of that. Is the question really about the getting the benches back in place? Or was there a second piece there?
Mostly about benches, Laura.
Sorry, say that again?
Benches.
So the benches, so that station is under construction right now as we modernize the existing elevator and build a brand new unit. The platforms are being fully upgraded. At the same time, one great outcome of this project is we're going to have true level boarding between the platform and the car. There's not going to be a 2-inch vertical gap any longer. Because of all the platform work, they did temporarily relocate the benches. Let me quickly ask my team, either Rob or Chris, do we know when those?
Gonna be 18 months. A year.
Did you say a year and a half at least? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Tom, did you have a question?
Yeah, that's Tom Gilbert, RTAG member. It's working, right? Okay. I have a question about Natick Station. I was actually there on the opening of the station, and make a long story short, I almost missed the train back to Boston because I thought the train was an inbound, outbound system, but come to find out, it's not. It's assigned to the track that you're waiting on, whether you're going back to Boston or Worcester. And I think there still needs to be some critiquing that needs to be done there. Like, there needs to be announcements on the upper part before you go down the elevator, and then good announcements on the platform when you're waiting for it. Because when I was finally warned that I was on the wrong side, it wasn't an NET employee that warned me that I wasn't going back to Boston. It was a passenger. and says, "Hey, guy, you want to get back on the other side? Where are you going?" I said, "Boston." "No, you have to get back over the other side." Christine was with me. Thank God I had 10 minutes still to catch it, but if that 10 minutes had gone by and thought that I was going to be able to get the train to Boston on the side where I was going to go back, it was just very it was just very, very confusing. And then when I did hear the announcements on the side going back to Boston, the announcements sounded like something through a McDonald's drive-through. I could hardly hear what it. It's like I couldn't even hear what it was saying. So I don't know. I don't understand why they didn't put simple announcements on the elevator to say to platform 1 or or if you're on the other elevator to platform 2 or track 1 or track 2. And why does it just say all trains instead of stating that it's either the track 1 or the track 2 whether you're waiting on? I was kind of disappointed.
Thanks, Tom.
So it sounds like the silver lining, Tom, is you got a full tour of all of the platforms at Natick Center. No, but in all seriousness, we did. I know you brought that up shortly after being there for the event, and we shared that with our railroad ops team, and we're sort of discussing with them what their reprogramming is. So I don't have a clear answer for you tonight, but we will follow up on that. That was really.
Because I thought when we got off the train going outbound on one side, like how it works with the, oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I thought that when you're on the subway, or usually like when you're on the Lowell line or on the Fitchburg line, you get off on one side on the outbound, and then you simply wait for the train on the other side going inbound, and that's what I thought that's what the system was based on. But like you were saying, I kind of got a grand tour of it, and oh no, it was a lot different than that. So,
Chris, did you want to make sure you get the microphone?
So, Tom, unfortunately, until we have triple track in place, there is, for both Natick, West Natick, and the Wellesley stops, the trains will switch tracks. Right. Depending on the time of day or depending on freight train traffic. So it makes it challenging, particularly if you don't move quickly. Oh, yeah. And if the audio and visual assumptions are not clear, is challenging. I got stranded out at West Natick a few years ago for that exact reason. So yeah, it's one of those things that it's both a technological challenge and ultimately we gotta get triple track built.
Great, thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Chris.
I don't know how well you can answer this question. It's about Amtrak in Maine. And the station is always closed until 8 o'clock in the morning and closes at 7 p.m. at night. And there is like nowhere to sit either. And they take out the benches. And it's like there's elderly sitting there and stuff too. And it's like, where can they sit and stuff? Is there anything that can be done about that? I meant to bring that up before, too. And that is part of the
sorry,
MBTA
see
as
you
well.
back there. This is at Jackson Station?
It is Saco, Maine.
No, this is at an Amtrak station in Maine.
Yeah, Amtrak Station, Maine. But it is coming from the MBTA.
So do we know, again, with all of the platform work there, they had to remove.
They don't even open until 8 a.m. and they close at 7 p.m. The Saco Station in Maine.
Sorry, Amtrak Station.
Yep.
Chris, do you know from conversations about their redesign?
and we could reach out to the rail and transit division.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind
but-
staying for just a couple minutes after the meeting.
I can't. I have to bounce even before the meeting ends.
All right, if you wouldn't mind reaching out to us at some point at your convenience with those details, what we can do is send them over to our contacts.
That's the
at
only
Rail-
details I have.
Amtrak.
It's been going on for almost 2 years now. They need to have somebody in there. Somebody seems to want to work.
Any other questions from folks in person? Yes, go for it.
Yes, hi. My question, sorry. Hi, my question, it's about the elevator service. I know you said it's going to take 8 weeks. Has that clock started counting down yet? Or it's going to be 8 more weeks? Because like I frequent a lot of the stations and it's a hassle, inconvenience, and my knees are not that great to go up and down the stairs in like Haymarket. I was working at the election poll last week, and every morning I had to go up those stairs. It took me a long time, and they're like, why am I late? Blame it on the train station. I'm leaving early, but it takes me a while to get to the top of those stairs, and there's no elevators at all there. I know it's gonna take some time. I just wanna know, do you have a rollout date?
What station is this?
Haymarket, and a few other ones that you have up on that board? Haymarket?
She was asking about
Haymarket?
Haymarket with some of the other stations as well. It's 8-week rolling.
All right, so I don't have any information on the Haymarket outage. The fact that so at Haymarket, we have a decent situation in that we've got redundancy there. So if one elevator goes out, there should be another operating, but both are out at the same time. All right.
My name's Rob. I'm with System-Wide Accessibility. So Haymarket, that elevator is out of service, but it's not because of the project that Laura mentioned. That elevator unfortunately went out unexpectedly, and I'm a little bit familiar with that outage. The reason why it's taking so long is because we're waiting to receive a part that had to come from overseas, and it was not something that we could obtain easily. So I will double check the date for the estimated return to service. Yeah, but unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit longer. We do hope to do those upgrades at all the Haymarket elevators at some point within the next year or so. The Haymarket station is a little bit further out. But at that point, it's actually a little bit less than 8 weeks. It's roughly around 6. So, but we will make sure to let, we're at least giving riders more than about a week or more of notice when we take those elevators out of service for those planned outages.
Thank you,
All right.
that's my question.
Yeah, no problem.
My question,
Yep.
my question was, I noticed Jackson Square Station was left out regarding the elevators. Now, I know they're doing a lot of work there, so is that included with part of that work that they are doing there? And the other thing is, how often do you keep up with the repairs of these elevators that they don't be breaking down?
So
And I
Jack,
also have bad knees too. I mean, I'm 82, and I might not look it, but I don't like to be climbing up those stairs.
so at Jackson Square, yes? So Jackson Square is going to be a great project. So we are currently constructing a brand new elevator that will meet all of our new elevator standards. Once that is complete, we're going to go in and fully modernize the existing elevator. In addition to that, we're going to have platform upgrades and all sorts of other minor upgrades. So that project is going to take about 2 years to complete. But you're going to end up with 2 fully modernized, larger, more transparent units, so that if one should ever go out of service, you've got the other as backup.
you go about choosing which elevators, which stations comes first? How did,
Oh,
because
how do you know?
I looked at, you got Braintree and all of those stations. How did you come about with that?
How do we decide what elevators are modernized? Is that the question?
I saw when you had up there, it said Braintree and all of those other stations were being,
Yep.
how did you choose those stations before the inner city stations, elevators?
That is a great question. So we have a lot of different plots of information we use to make decisions about what are the highest priority units. The first plot we look at is how often does a unit go out of service? So we've got data that goes back years in time to say this unit went out of service 50 times last year for an average of 3 days, 3 days an outage, versus this elevator's only got out of service twice last year, right? So that's one key determinant. Another is feedback from riders, right? So in meetings like these and calls we get at our call center, if we're hearing from riders that a unit that they rely on is particularly challenging or unreliable, that gets factored into our ranking as well. And then location is another big one. If we're at a station where there's another elevator nearby or there's a good alternate option, that might mean it's not as urgent that we get in there and repair that unit. So Braintree, Park Street, Chinatown, those are all examples of units that historically have been going out of service a lot and are in very important locations where there are not a lot of great nearby options, or they, like Park Street, for example, connects to one of our busiest stations, right? Both the red and green line. So that's generally how we think about priorities. But certainly one of the great things about these meetings is if you have an issue with the elevator that you rely on most closely, definitely let us know about that. And we can make sure we're taking a close look at that as we make decisions. Thanks for that question.
I'll take one more in-person question before moving to virtual.
This is just a comment. I've been riding the Blue Line a lot, and I have to tell you that it is so much faster now that it can go up to 65. I mean, I got to tell you, it's really nice. It's actually, I can get to town in around about 45 minutes. So that's just what it should be.
Great. Thanks, Susie. I will briefly turn over to the Zoom screen.
That's great feedback. Thank you.
Stephen, your hand's up first.
Yes, hello, Stephen Urati, representing National Federation of the Blind, Massachusetts. When you were saying about that they would have new accessibility features of the elevator, are we going to have the standard of Braille on the inside panels, and would they be more talking? I know you mentioned about automatic call button for the elevators, and if you could go a little more into depth about the speaking and whatever the voice would be. That is what I have for that.
So that is not currently a feature in our specification, having the automated voice. In fact,
I'm sorry, Stephen, again, I wasn't clear with that. That didn't make too much sense, that answer.
so in terms of our current elevator specification, that is not a component. I'm happy to share our specification with you so you can see all the features.
Yes, please. But the newer elevators would be having more accessible features.
Yes, so our newer elevators that you see throughout, many of them at our stations today, including the elevator at Park Street on the Common and the elevators at Copley and other locations, they are much larger. They are generally passed through in design, so you don't have to step in and then back out to get out of them. There's 2 call buttons, call panels inside each unit. And again, there's a lot more transparency in and out. And then sort of within the guts of the unit, there's a ton there within the design to make them inherently more reliable.
Thanks, Stephen. Daniel? You're currently muted. Daniel, it looks like you're muted at the moment.
Yeah, when are they gonna, I know they claim that Boylston Street can't be upgraded, fixed, because the Boston Historical Commission won't allow it. Why don't they just fix the station and let the Historical Society sue you, and then at least you'll get it done. Same for Bowden. They haven't fixed that since they opened it. And that's a death trap if you go into the hospitals in that area.
So that is also a great question. So you are right in that Bowden, Boylston, I put Hines on this list too. Those are really 3 of our last subterranean stations that are not accessible. With respect to Boylston, certainly one of the reasons it's going to be so complex to make that station accessible is all of the different stakeholders involved, including the Historical Commission. But I would not say that they are a deal breaker or that they are a reason that that station will not be made accessible. It absolutely will be made accessible someday. The reason currently that we are struggling with how to advance Boylston is simply the cost of doing so. Right before COVID, a few concepts were pulled together for Boylston. And in today's dollars, the rough cost estimate would be something close to $175 or $200 million to upgrade that station. And certainly that is not an unheard of number when it comes to transportation projects. It is just simply not funding we have available in the next few years. So we are actually in the process of putting together a timeline for how we're going to work to make all stations accessible by 2040. So we're trying to really think creatively about some of these super complex locations like Boylston and Hines to figure out how we're going to get funding and approval to move those forward. So certainly no easy answers there, but I would just say the Historical Commission is not the deal breaker, and that will not be a reason for us not to make the station accessible.
Thanks, Daniel. Jennifer Smith Workman.
All right. Hello, everyone. Laura, hi. I'm actually en route there now, but my question, Laura, we've been speaking a lot about the stations, but during the summertime, I like to be a big girl and go to my doctor's appointment on the bus. Now, Boston Medical Center, yes, we have a lot of homeless in that area, but my question is, and I understand why you are reluctant to put the seats, benches at the bus stops, but is there any way between the corner of Mass Ave and Albany, we can make that shelter longer, wider, bigger for people to stand to wait for the bus without having to worry about leaning up against urine or anything of that nature? Has that been in any of the playbooks for some of the bus stops along the major routes to be upgraded?
Yes, so we are working on an effort right now within a team that's called our commercial strategies group to actually expand the number of shelters and bus stops throughout the system significantly. Parallel to that, anytime we work to upgrade a station, we're looking at seating options at the same time. So I think both certainly within system-wide accessibility, but also throughout the broader MBTA, we recognize that the seating is absolutely essential for many riders, particularly at stops where there may be headways between trips. At the specific stops you mentioned, it was my understanding that pulling some of those seating options was meant to be a temporary approach to a really challenging situation. But this is something we need to keep engaging with both the city as well as our transit police department on. So one thing we can report out at the next RTAG meeting is when there are concerns about safety or vandalism, how those decisions are made around seating, and what we can do to really continue to raise awareness about how critical those seating options are.
Great,
Yes,
thanks,
Laura, because
Jennifer.
it is a hospital setting and you have people who have mobility issues and can't just stand. They want to be independent and not rely on a ride all the time. Like I said, be big girls and big boys and take the public transportation. But it's unfair if you're going to the hospital, you're bad enough you're getting prodded and prodded, and you got to stand up and wait for the bus to come. It's something that really, really, I've been asking this for a long time. It's something that really needs to be looked into.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's the last thing you would have to worry about is how long you'll need to be standing without support. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. See you soon.
The things they show.
Can you just write it down?
I'll just show you on the phone.
Thanks, Jennifer. The next question is from Adner.
Hi everyone, it's Abner. Laura, you might remember me from the 88 Day event, and so this is not related to what you're talking about, but just want to address on the Green Line. So, few things on Brookline Village on the westbound side of the platform. There are no speakers saying when the next train is coming or when the train is arriving. I just want to point out there. And on the newer trains, one of them only says destination, for example, destination Cleveland Circle. It's not saying next stop Copley or approaching Copley. And the other thing is when the trains on the eastbound side approach Copley, it's not saying approaching Copley, doors are open on the right. I just want to address that because I noticed it. And what if somebody is blind and doesn't know what stop they're gonna get off? So I just want to address that, Laura.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. We will check into that specific location. One thing to be aware about on the Green Line is the announcements that are made on the vehicles are actually triggered by tags that are embedded within the tracks. So as we do track work or as there is disturbance to the right-of-way, sometimes those tags can become dislodged, again, cause the announcements to be missing or inaccurate. So there's a possibility that that is what happened here. So we'll check out that location in particular. I also just want to say that reminds me, for folks who have not seen it, there was a really great article in the Boston Globe this morning several folks here today were actually quoted in it, Tom and Andy in particular, but it was all about the importance of stop announcements throughout our subway and commuter rail network, and the fact that although there have been improvements over the years, we still have quite a bit of work to do. So if you haven't seen that article already, please check it out. And for folks involved, thanks for keeping that topic front and center, because we recognize how important it is.
Great, thanks, Adner. And Valerie, you're the last virtual question.
Thank you. I just want to show my face when I'm talking. I'm calling, I heard someone mention the elevators, and I was at the Cambridge Senior Center, and a woman came in and spoke about being harassed and having some fears in the elevators, particularly in the evening. What type of security is available, and how often are patrols made?
So at Central Square in particular, virtually during all hours, with the exception of the very, very beginning and very, very close of service, we have transit ambassadors at the station, one on the inbound side and one on the outbound side. And their role is to offer assistance and answer any questions folks have, but also keep a general eye on the station and be a resource for riders. In addition to our transit ambassadors, certainly we have inspectors and transit police kind of passing through stations periodically. And then a third layer of security is we have cameras at most locations and most stations, and our operations control center has those camera feeds up on their screen all the time and is scrolling through them to keep an eye out for any kind of inappropriate or dangerous situations. And then certainly as a customer, if you ever experience or witness anything that feels unsafe, we have call boxes throughout the station platforms and at our elevators. You can also always call our transit police directly by calling 222-1212, and they will dispatch someone right away. So those are just a few of the ways we work to keep the station secure.
Thank you. And the Governor Healy just passed a executive order, I believe it was called, that would provide certain funding support for the aging community. And one of those fundings was for transportation. Was the MBTA, specifically the ride, able to take advantage of the funding that the governor has now ordered specifically for the aging community's transportation needs? And thank you.
So yes, so we were contacted by the governor's office about the executive order, and so we'll be working with their team as a liaison on MBTA projects and future opportunities. Those have yet to be determined, but certainly will be a combination of fixed route efforts and paratransit efforts. So stay tuned for more on that.
Could you repeat that?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Repeat the policeman's phone number for MBTA.
Laura, they're asking if you could repeat the information for the TPD.
So TPD phone number is 617-222-1212.
All right, just to be conscious of time, I will take the last question on Zoom from Glenna, and then we'll move on to the ride. Glenna, you're currently muted.
Hi, I just wanted to piggyback on what Valerie said, because it wasn't clear in the answer whether cameras are inside the actual elevators, not just, around, somewhere outside of the elevators. And also, as someone who uses the elevators, whether there is any plan to, create a hourly cleaning schedule or something on those elevators, which can be pretty horrendous to walk into.
So going back to the camera question, in our news units, cameras are specified to be available in the units. So at Central Square in particular, this means the new unit on the inbound side has that feature, but not the older unit on the outbound side, although that elevator is going to be upgraded within the next year. But then if the elevator itself is not camera equipped, we have cameras pointing at the elevators. And then in terms of your second question, I apologize. Yeah, what was that?
If there can be an hourly cleaning schedule?
Hourly cleanings, yes. So elevator cleanliness is has been a high priority for a number of years. We have what is still a relatively new cleaning contract where they are graded essentially on the quality of work they do. So there's not an hourly schedule per se, but they are measured based on the overall outcome, and that's reported through a variety of channels, including our transit ambassadors. If you have noticed that an elevator in particular has been unclean on a regular basis, please let us know, and we can look at the data around how often it's inspected. Transit ambassadors check the elevators once an hour, and if they notice that it's unclean, they will report that to the cleaning crews who are then dispatched.
Great, thanks, Glenna. Now at this time, we'll go to the next slide, and I'm going to hand it over to Michelle Styler to talk about the ride.
Great, thank you, Kat. Michelle Styler, Chief of Paratransit Services. I think this is carrying. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I would like to start with an observation about the new image that you're seeing, and had meant to give a shout out to our photographer, who I think has stepped away, and all those that have participated in our photo shoots. It's really nice to get some additional pictures updated and shared with you. So this is an image I actually believe was taken by one of our team members when we were in the field preparing for the software launch, which is the next slide. So we're real excited about the new software, and we consider the launch thus far to have been very successful. On this screen to the right, there is an image of a rather large group that's a mix of ride staff, Spare, which is the software platform staff, and service provider staff. We also have a picture of a driver with, it looks like, a safety supervisor looking in through the doorway, and then some additional team members in their brightly covered vests on site at one of the garages. It's nice to share with you that our team was well represented. Everybody was out in the field from 4 a.m. until the, largely supporting until the close of service at the end of the day. Across all of our locations, and that was over the Labor Day weekend. We're really excited about the tools that are being offered, including additional customer self-service tools, real-time trip optimization, where we can see more efficient scheduling. There's a new eligibility platform, and then back-end tools for us to track and drill down at a granular level into trips and improve tools to troubleshoot and dispatch trips. We go to the next slide. So I want to talk a little bit about the Ride Mobility Center and eligibility. This was the first launch. We used a phased approach, and the Mobility Center was the first location to launch on August 21st. We have a new image here of the Mobility Center from the more recent photo shoot. Spare made it possible to submit online applications and also for our customers to view the status of your application. And also, there are improved back-end reporting and tracking tools that improve how TRAC monitors performance. Excuse me, I said TRAC, I mean staff, Mobility Center staff, and our team as well. Next slide, please. Soon to arrive, the launch is likely tomorrow, is the Ride mobile application. It will be named, yes, we're very excited about this, and I would encourage you, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I'd encourage you to provide as much feedback as possible, and can tell you while Laura was speaking, emails are popping up about how we can continue to improve spare reporting and tracking, and we have spare staff on site through a hypercare period that's troubleshooting in real time for us. So Spare made it possible to submit online applications and customers to review the status of the applications. Sorry, I backtracked a bit. The mobile app. So the name of the mobile app is MBTA-Ride. It will be available in the app stores tomorrow. We will post information on the website, and we'll be pushing out communications and seat drops tomorrow and through the week. We go to the next slide. This is a refresher. We've mentioned before, and we've pushed out comms about what changes you'll see with Spare. So the important things to highlight are the new 30-minute promise window, additional opportunities for notifications where customers can indicate their preferences, and additional opportunities to cancel trips. Note that self-service features will require a unique primary phone number. That's how they identify you. Online self-service options to manage profiles and account balances. And a highlight here, again, a reminder that there are limits to account balances. We will not exceed $200. We will no longer permit negative balances. And for credit cards, there's a $10 minimum for adding funds. You still have additional ways to add money to your account, including at the Charlie Card store and with checks. We go to the next slide, please. I'm going to go through some performance data and KPIs, which I've done in the past here. Let's see where we are. Okay, so there are two charts here. Both of them indicate ridership trends. The one on the left is a line graph that breaks out trips for the month of July by DSPs, non-dedicated service providers or NDSPs, and integrated trips. And what we saw year over year was a slight increase of ridership. I believe it was 18,000, yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you have to know the truck to get here is 146 from Malton. They sent the Honda Civic car to pick me up. Just want you to know that.
I will have somebody connect with you, and we will take all your information and follow up with you, and I'm sorry to hear that. We'll take care of that. Okay, and to the right is dedicated service providers versus non-dedicated service providers. It's a bar graph, and the visual really is to see the trends from August of 2024 through July of 2025. If we go to the next slide. On-time performance trending for the period of January 2025 through December. And this is actually a comparison that shows you the difference between 2024 and 2025. For the month of July, we achieved a 95% on-time performance. To the right are pickups greater than 120 minutes for the month of July, and we didn't have any that exceeded that 120-minute mark. Go to the next slide. Call center performance, we were at just under 100,000 calls for the month of July. And the hold time was at 0.27 of a minute for the month of July as well. Go to the next slide. Complaints per 1,000 trips are how we measure performance. This is a line graph that trends August of 2024 through July of 2025. We were at 2.23 complaints for the month of July, and that is fairly consistent. We are looking to drop that number below 2. We go to the next slide. My intention here was to share a little bit about our contracts and what we're doing. Right now, we have a non-dedicated service provider contract that will expire in April of 2026. The RFP has posted. We are accepting bids on the contract right now. The track contract expires in June of 2026. We anticipate that this RFP will post this month. For the mobility center, the base contract ends in December of 2025. We are reviewing option year 1. And for a dedicated service providers, we are in option year 1, which expires in June of 2026. We are in the process of both evaluating performance, examining option year 2, and developing an RFP for that contract. If we go to the next slide. This is simply information I had encouraged you earlier, and to the gentleman at the back, we will absolutely connect with you and get all that information. It's really important that you share feedback about this new software launch, all that you experience, and to let you know that we understand that there will be tweaks needed, and we intend to do that. But overall, this platform has allowed us to really take a look at how we monitor trips and service, and to make adjustments, and to oversee the performance. There's still a bit of a learning curve for both our customers and our employees, and we're going to work through that. I'm, again, upset to hear about the recent performance issue from the gentleman in the back. But what I'd like to do is, based on what I heard from the audience here, there's some concern about our change to the personal items and baggage policy. What I would like to do is share with you how we found out about the policy, how we tracked it, and how we came to the conclusion that the change in policy was needed. I'm going to read a little bit, then we're going to open up to any questions you may have about this. So as part of our ongoing efforts to prioritize customer safety and improve service reliability, RIDE has revised its policy regarding driver assistance with personal items. The change aligns our approach with many other paratransit services which do not provide assistance with personal belongings. How did we get here, where we felt that we needed to adjust the policy? So the policy update stems from concerns raised by the operations team based on an increasing number of incidents and injuries involving both customers and drivers. These incidents often occurred when drivers were asked to handle large, heavy, or multiple personal items, which shifts their focus away from their primary responsibility, which is customer safety. While drivers will continue to assist customers using manual wheelchairs over a single curb or step, carrying personal items has proven to be a source of complication. Additionally, unsecured items on board have created tripping hazards, placing other riders and drivers at risk. We've also seen a rise in customer complaints and confusion regarding what level of assistance is appropriate, which has led to friction and conflict between customers and drivers. These situations can cause service delays, often requiring intervention from safety personnel and dispatch, and triggering a cascading effect that impacts others on the same vehicle or those awaiting trips later in the day. So the intent is to allow drivers to remain hands-free, allowing them to focus on assisting the customer. What does it mean for customers? So we want to assure you that riders will continue to provide door-to-door service, and as always, our drivers will offer an arm for support, assist customers using manual wheelchairs over a single curb or step, and allow you to board with your personal items using the lift. If you plan to travel with items you cannot carry on your own, we ask you to consider traveling with a PCA who can assist you. And just a reminder that PCAs may travel with you for free. Customers may bring a small shopping cart, but it must be folded during transport. And items inside the cart have to fit comfortably within your personal space on board the vehicle. So what I'd like to share also is what we did to make this decision. We took a look at incidents, accidents, and complaint data. We reviewed firsthand operational insights, feedback from drivers, from safety personnel. We consulted with peer agencies to understand what best practices are. We ensured alignment with ADA and FTA paratransit guidelines. We compared expectations with fixed route transit, where passengers are not provided assistance with personal items. And then lastly, we did bring this to discussion with the RTAG subcommittee that's focused on paratransit in January 2025 for community input and stakeholder engagement. And I suspect that these may be where most of the questions are, but I'd like to open the floor to questions. I believe so, yes.
Can you go to the next slide, please? Great. For in-person questions or comments, again, please raise your hand or indicate that you would like to ask a question. Please wait for our assistant to hand you the microphone so we can all hear you. And if you're using ASL, please stand if you can. We may ask you to adjust your location so that the online interpreters can have a clear view of you. Next slide. For virtual questions or comments, in the Zoom controls, click Reactions, then click Raise Hand. Participants can also raise or lower their hand with keyboard shortcuts. On Windows, it's the Alt and Y keys, and on Mac OS, it's the Option and Y keys. And participants calling in by phone can click *9 to raise hand and *6 to unmute. And we'll start with, I'm going to alternate between folks in person and folks on the screen since we have so many, but I'll start with in person. Sure.
Hello. You're saying they can't bring shopping carts on the ride with their groceries in it. Now, if a person is using a cane and using the shopping cart, why can't they take the shopping cart with their groceries in the shopping cart? They always used to wrap, the belts or whatever around the shopping cart so that it wouldn't move.
It's a matter of safety. Based on reports that have been shared with us, we're concerned about loose items, about obstructing the pathway, about tripping hazards. So what we're doing is we're instructing you can board with the cart, but we need to empty it, store your personal items in your space, and secure the cart.
But the person has to carry their personal bags to their seat, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Could I get a volunteer to come up here, please, for a moment?
I'm sorry?
Could I get a volunteer to come up here and pick up these 2 bags with the cane and walk with it? Because that's what you're asking us to do.
I understand that there are challenges here.
If a person goes to the supermarket to get groceries, they're not going to Zale Jewelers to get a little box that has a ring or a watch or something in it. They're going to get milk, orange juice, canned goods, vegetables. The bag, it can be very heavy.
I
for
understand
a
that.
senior citizen or a handicapped person who was walking with a cane to have to take their bag and take it to their seat without any assistance.
I understand
And
your
not
concern.
everybody has a PCA.
I understand. And it's unfortunate, but it's a measure that we have to take to ensure that people are safe on board the vehicles.
Well, I understand safety, but if they strap the cart like they've always done, it's not going nowhere.
The service is operating differently when I talk about real-time optimization. So we do not know what the rest of your day looks like. There will be other passengers on board those vehicles, and we have to ensure that we are able to transport people safely.
Well, all these years, people have brought their shopping carts on, and I live in Lynn, and I have not had anybody say that there was an accident on the ride with their shopping carts or anything.
I understand your concern, but this was really a safety issue.
And the ADA approved it?
This is a consistent policy at the agencies, and with respect to ADA and the FTA requirements, we're required to mirror fixed route service. So the reality is, and it's unfortunate, but we're public transportation, and we mirror fixed route service. And if a bus driver on fixed route or light rail doesn't transport your packages, we wouldn't be required to, but it's far more than that. Like I said, it's really about the safety of the customer, the passengers, and just the difficulty of transporting the packages.
But 2 bags of groceries, they are kind of heavy for a person to carry if they're using a cane.
I understand that, and I
expecting them to travel 5 days a week or 7 days a week to go to the supermarket to get 2 items so that they can carry it, right?
I can't speak to how you transport your groceries, and I am sorry that it's an inconvenience, but it's really about safely transporting customers and passengers, and even the drivers.
So even on the buses, you're going to be stopping shopping carts?
We have to secure the carts.
You don't have to take out your personal item or your
You can
you don't have to disassemble your
you fold
shopping cart to use the regular transportation.
Again, it's a matter of safe transport. It's a matter of safe transport. So we're asking customers to fold your carts and stow your personal items in your personal space on board that vehicle. It's a shared service, and it's a matter of safety.
Thanks, Kathy.
But it's not there to the customers. It is not there at all.
I understand and I empathize. I travel, I do my grocery shopping with a cart, and I transport my groceries, and I certainly understand that there are challenges there, but we're public transportation, and it's a matter of safety.
So people are stuck at home. If they don't have a PCA, and if they don't have family members, how are they supposed to be able to eat without being able to transport their groceries?
I understand, but I am responsible for the operation of paratransit services. I understand your concerns and that there are challenges, and perhaps there are other resources that we could connect you with.
What other resources are there?
I have our team looking at that to see if there are other resources you can be connected with for support for groceries but we're public transportation. We're doing the best we can. There are limits. And again, it's a matter of safely assisting our customers and transporting them. It's public transportation. We have ongoing issues, incidents and accidents. And I know that I'm repeating myself. I don't know if it's helpful. I expect that there will be some other questions as well. And happy to have a separate discussion with you.
But now they're changing the bus lanes, the bike lanes and everything, and people trying to get on and off of buses or whatever. It's going to be really hard for everybody. You want them to take public transportation. You want cars to get off the street as much as possible. How can you do that if you cannot take your groceries on the bus or in the ride? How can you not do it if the people have no other recourse? You don't want cars on the street. You're limiting, like in Lynn, Market Street. It's narrower now. There's islands everywhere. Some of them jet way out. What are they going to do in the winter when the snow comes? I know Lynn did get a plow just for the snow on Market Street. But how are people supposed to get around if they can't use somebody's with a car, or you're trying to get cars off the street, you're trying to put public transportation first, when all of a sudden you can't take your groceries or your suitcase or whatever you got to take with you?
We've got a, Kathy, just because we have so many people, I'm gonna, but what I'm gonna do, folks, excuse me, what I'm gonna do is, because I think many folks have stuff to share about this, since Michelle has already stated her response, I will give everyone a chance to just state how this will impact them, but Michelle won't respond to them. That way we can get through however many folks we have. So if folks do have in the room specific stories that they want to share about that, go ahead and raise your hand so we can go through those first.
If you were to compile the concerns, if we don't have time here, and we were to compile the concerns, I'm happy to take a look at them all.
All right, well, I will go to an online question and we can alternate again. Shirley. You're currently muted, Shirley.
Hi, this is Shirley. I have a question about the, sorry, hold on. I have a question regarding the driver service. You already addressed the fact that there will still be door-to-door services, but there was talk about someone had said that the drivers will not go into the building and call out the customer's name to retrieve them. I'm blind, so I wouldn't be able to go out there to see the driver even pull up, never mind him standing in front of me, unless they call out my name. So they will still provide that service as well, right? Well, they will come into they have door-to-door service, which you will address, but they will also still come into the building to call out my name. So I know they're there.
There has been no change other than the baggage policy and carrying the personal items.
Okay, all right, great.
Thank
you very much.
Thanks, Shirley.
All right.
Michelle, I don't need a mic. Jennifer Smith Workman.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Jennifer, can you please use a microphone so the people online can hear you?
Okay, I'll have the microphone. Hi, Jennifer Smith Workman. Michelle, can you explain a little more about personal space, items in personal space? Do you mean under your legs, on your lap? Can you just verify and explain what personal space means for personal items?
I'm sorry, okay. Yes, so the intention is that you don't intrude on other space or have an obstruction where someone can trip.
All right, I'm gonna go back to the Zoom. Kathy, you're next.
Okay, I just have a quick question. I'm doing okay with spare, but I just want to know that if the ride is outside of the 30-minute window and say it's running 50 minutes late, will you still be offered the flex transportation for them to dispatch Uber or Lyft for you? That's all I want to know.
If you're talking about if you're opted into Ride Flex and there's an alternative if the transport is running late?
Yes.
That is an option. That will remain
Okay.
an option. Mhm.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm having a good time. It's just that somebody told me that was gone, and it was a Ride customer service person, and I didn't think that was so from Flex. Thank you.
Thank you for the
Kathy.
question.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do another in-person question. You want to raise your hand for a microphone? Oh, go ahead, back there.
I just want to share that I will stay after so we can talk more, okay?
My question is, I've got so many, I don't know which one I want to use.
Throw them all out there.
You get that 30-minute window and all of that.
Yes.
But why are they like picking you up in one city, like picking me up in Revere? I'm going to another address in Revere. Why are they going to take me all the way to Malden to pick up somebody to bring me back to Revere?
Is this a recent trip that you're referencing?
Yes.
Okay, so we have real-time optimization. So the system takes a look at the existing schedules. It accounts for changes in scheduling, including cancellations, and will reroute on an as-needed basis to best address the needs of the system. But if there's something in particular, I had said that we are a week in. If there's something in particular you have a concern about, please share it with us and we can take a look at that.
Well, I will.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is important, and that's what I encourage everybody is share that feedback because we recognize that there are still things where we can make some adjustments, and it's important that we're aware of these. Thank you for sharing that.
Great. What I'm going to do is do 2 online questions at once, just because we have so many folks online, and Michelle did just offer to stay a little bit afterwards for folks who are in person. So I want to make sure that the online folks get a chance to share. So I will call on the next person. Is it Rashida?
Yes.
Go ahead.
My question is dealing with the 30-minute window. If you have an appointment at 8:45 a.m. in the morning and you have to be there, would the ride be coming 30 minutes before that time? That's what I'm trying to understand, that 30-minute window. And return back, would that be applied the same?
It depends on how you book your trip, but if you're booking for an appointment, you would convey that to the track reservationist to make sure that you get there on time.
And that's the same way coming back, tell them what time I need to be back home?
Well, I would venture to guess, and it's your preference, but at that point, you may want to select a pickup time following your appointment.
Right.
Because you would want to make sure you allot enough time for your appointment.
Yes, I do.
And we can have track personnel step you through that if you had questions to see what works best with you for you and your circumstances.
Okay.
Great.
Thank
I'll do
you.
one more online question before.
Hello.
And I'm going to call on Leah next. And Leah, you're currently muted.
Okay. Thank you. I hate to say it, but it feels like this is defeating the whole purpose here with helping disabled and senior citizens. Gentlemen help people with their bags. So basically, just carry your pocketbook and that's a wrap. It sounds like to me. Are they still coming to the door to let you know that they're here? Are we still able to track the vehicles as well?
Yes and yes. The only thing that has changed is the baggage policy. And again, when we speak to the baggage policy, what we were seeing was customers with expectations for the drivers to carry large items oversized items, heavy items, laundry, and the drivers were doing their best to accommodate. And what we were seeing was that the customer would suffer, that the customers were being injured, they were tripping, they were falling. We had reports of driver injuries for them attempting to help customers, and we wanted to regroup and focus on transporting customers safely.
Well, I appreciate that. And then what's the word that you all use, the type of transportation you are, your para something? What is it that the word you use?
Paratransit?
Yeah, so para means what?
Paratransit, we're delivering service for people with disabilities, but it's public transportation. We are transporting people with disabilities.
Right. And since they're disabled, thank God I don't abuse the system like that, but I feel for the people that do, because I know when people come, say from when they go for their kidneys, and they come back and they're weak and they need help with their bags.
Thank you, and I
Okay.
understand that. And keep in mind, what I was sharing was how this baggage policy was impacting customers, that we were experiencing delays, and that meant that all the customers that followed that initial pickup were experiencing delays because of conflict or potential injuries and safety reporting out or calls to dispatch. So this was having a negative impact on, when I say operations, I mean our customers.
And I understand that. Thank God none of that happened to me either, those situations. And unfortunately, there's always someone that ruins it for everybody, too. But I just don't like it being taken out for the people that really need it, like that woman from Lynn. She sounds, when people don't have anybody to help them and they need to go grocery shopping, who else can they depend on? We've depended on you all for all these years, and now you all changed everything. And I don't see where even the new system is even better. Actually, with the new system, I have been late for my appointments with the new system, with the spare system.
And I would
I've been late.
I'm sorry.
Thank you,
And
Leah, for
and
sharing.
it had 4 people, way more people in the vehicle as well.
I would encourage you to keep reporting that to us because we are making adjustments. It's important that we get this right. And I had shared that we do have additional tools and we're able to make adjustments, more flexibility to adjust the service now.
Thank you,
Well,
Leah.
it wasn't broken. You didn't have to fix it.
I'm going to move on to the next person. Is there anyone in person who has a question? How about Paul? Sure, yeah, go for it. Yeah, sorry, Paul, there's someone in front of you. You're next.
Is this on? Hi, this is Angie Manderson. Why is there such a limit as to how much to have in your account? Why can't you have what you need in the account? Why does it have to be just $200? It shouldn't matter, especially if you're taking a lot of trips on the ride.
That's a great question. And what I can share with you there are a number of ways accounts are replenished. And from our experience, we've had excessive amounts of money placed into an account, and it helps us control the account balances, because what that leads us to is hunting down parties, trying to set up a refund or close out an account. So we're looking to avoid inactive accounts getting recurring deposits.
But the ride keeps changing their address to send money. So it should...
We can have somebody follow up with you to make sure you have everything you need.
Yeah, I know. I have the post office box, but I'm just saying, I just think that it's ridiculous. It shouldn't matter, because since you have to pay for the ride, we have to pay for the ride.
Thank you, Angie.
Thanks. Sorry to hold you up. I'm just concerned about that.
appreciate the
course.
feedback, but that's really to ensure that people have the money in their pockets and that it's not mistakenly deposited into the accounts. And what I had shared is we've had some extremely high balances, so it helps us control those accounts and make sure that the customers have their money and not too much in that account.
Adam?
Sorry, can I add
you
one
were
more thing,
saying-
Angie? I'm sorry.
Sorry, give me 1 second, Adam.
There is an auto top-off option in the account that you can set, so you can have the account replenished as needed. So you can also set something up like that as well.
Great. Go ahead, Adam.
So you were talking about how the contracts expire. So when are you going to know whether Ride Flex and the dedicated and non-dedicated service providers have renewed their contracts? Because you said they all expire at different times, and I think these are important to have, and I think contracts should be renewed no matter what. Because
Thank
it will provide transportation, efficient transportation for all of us.
Yes, thank
And
you.
be a good alternative for some of the other complainers on this call about groceries and other things.
Okay, so with respect to contracts, my intention was really to share that we contract out our service and share what those timelines look like and the work that we do, and that we're inclusive when we put together our technical evaluation committees, that we reach out to RTAG to make sure there's representation, but we recognize the value and the importance of those contracts, but simply that we're also incorporating lessons learned from prior contracts. And sometimes when it's a long contract, that there is not as much room as we'd like to make adjustments. So we take note of changes we'd like to make, and we incorporate that into new RFPs as we post. So that was my intention of sharing those contracts.
Great. Thanks, Adam. Glenna?
Hi.
We're waiting on Paul, right?
Oops. Hold on.
We can hear you.
Okay. I live in a senior building in Cambridge, and a number of, almost everyone who uses it has their complaints. And by the way, I'm with the Mass Alliance the Mass Senior Action Council, sorry. But I'd like to read a statement from a guy who's at dialysis today and couldn't come here. He says, dialysis patients generally are exhausted after a treatment. Even if they can carry their belongings to the bus, they may need help getting up the steps. That help would be less consuming than using the lift and getting underway to their home or to the next patient pickup. And I'm guessing he's hinting at some of the complaints people have had about the service not being so good recently because of this implementation, because it's actually costing the driver more time to get underway that way. And I just want to say right now, I don't need the ride, but I am horrified at the cavalier attitude of the T toward people who need to do their shopping by the ride. I can't imagine how it can possibly work for folks who don't have an alternative. And I think that the MBTA really needs to rethink what they're doing and to try to say that they compare themselves to the fixed transit and the services that aren't provided there is really a kind of an absurd argument, because we're talking about a service that is for the elderly and the disabled who need the extra help, or maybe they would be on the fixed transit. So I really do think that you really got to go back to the drawing table. It's pretty outrageous, and I don't think it can stand.
Thank you, Glenna. I appreciate you sharing. I will take one in person and then probably increase the number of online we're doing just because the hands keep increasing. Go ahead. Oh, I think Paul's going to go next, Susie.
Paul, can I just say something before we head over to Paul? I think it's important that people understand that there was a reason why we upgraded the software. The software we had was outdated and unsupported. It was necessary to upgrade. And when I share that we're excited about those new tools and features, some of the concerns that are expressed here about service, we will have additional tools to address them. And while we're just a week in and we're still learning, and the dispatchers and the drivers are still learning the software, you can expect to see improvements. And separately, when I talk about self-service tools, that you will be able to make adjustments to your specifications and preferences about contact information, and you will be able to track your vehicles. So perhaps you may not have seen that immediately, but you can expect to see that. But there is a reason why we upgraded that software. And then separately, one other item, and Paul, I'll get right to you, but I think it's important that some of the people weighing in here understand the requirements for providing paratransit, that there are provisions by the FTA about the service, and the most important thing that we are to do is to provide safe service to people with disabilities who are unable to take fixed route. And that's the absolute most important thing that we do. And when we can exceed the minimum requirements, we do. But in this particular case, with the baggage that the majority of other agencies found difficult to comply with, we had to make a decision to ensure the safety of our customers and the provision of our service. I'm sorry, go ahead, Paul.
You can hold the mic? Well, I'll take it. Thank you, Michelle. This is Paul. I have a question. Could you kindly repeat the name of the mobile app that's launching tomorrow? And will the messaging going out include email?
I believe so. We have Becca and Chris. Are we pushing out emails for the mobile app? Yes. Okay.
There will be emails going out to anyone who has an email on file with us. And for everyone to be clear, the name of the app will be the Ride-MBTA.
Did you get that? The Ride-MBTA.
Okay, so it's not MBTA first, it's the ride.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I misspeak?
What I just said was correct.
Okay.
The Ride-MBTA.
The Ride-MBTA, and we will follow up with communications.
Excellent. And I just wanted to say, when you call into track, when you press number 1 for self-serve numbers, that is vastly improved and user-friendly, and it no longer requires a password. It's really nice.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Paul.
Is it possible to share that information over the microphone just for the people on Zoom?
Yes.
You shared a lot of good information about the email.
Chris was saying that folks who do have an email in the ride system will be getting communication via email about the ride that's being launched, about the ride app that's being launched tomorrow. Yes. Okay. I'm going to go to online. Again, if you have a question in person, there will be opportunities to share that even after the meeting ends. We just have ASL interpreters until 5, so I want to make sure we can get as many folks online sharing. Alan, you're next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to compliment you guys on the launch of the Spare software. The difference is night and day. It's not even, frankly, with the new website, it's not even a comparison, frankly. I think, it's wonderful. I love that I don't have to wait in the call center queue and I want to book my trip. I did just want to raise a couple issues that I've seen. It's understandable that it's early, there always will be some teething issues to work out. Firstly, when I'm an iPhone user, when I'm booking my trip on the website, there seems to be a small bug where some of the buttons don't work well with iOS voiceover. I found that I have to turn off the thing and then just like manually press on it, which again, for me, since I can, I'm fortunate to have enough vision to be able to see those buttons, but I'm concerned for anyone, who may have no or limited vision and, may have trouble accessing, finding where those buttons are without the assistance of a screen reader. Also, secondly, it seems that the system doesn't seem to have a way for me to tell it, please do not send me an Uber or Lyft vehicle. It just gives me an option to, just gives me one option. It doesn't seem to, again, there's not really a way to tell it, please do not send an Uber or Lyft vehicle to come pick me up. And then also, thirdly, one thing I did notice is that I love the real-time tracking. However, and I love that, I get my notification an hour before the vehicle comes. However, I had one experience. It was the first day that the software launched where, within that 60 minutes, the vehicle changed. So it was about 10, I think it was going to come about 10 minutes earlier. Mike, I'm concerned for people who they see that 60-minute notification and then are not ready when the vehicle arrives earlier and they get left. Mike, my question is, I wonder if it's possible, perhaps for Spare to push out another text message or call out to let someone know, oh, the vehicle has changed. Please be ready at this time.
Thank you, Alan. I'm trying to make sure I address everything that you mentioned. So I can share with you that we are working with an RTAG member that had shared some feedback about, I believe it was the voiceover on the web portal, and we're taking a look at that, but I want to be certain we capture the issue and share it with the Spare team to make sure it's fully addressed. So we will follow up. Same thing with the opt-out issue. That's what it sounds like. You were looking for an opt-out option from Uber and Lyft. Am I correct? Yes? Okay. So we can report that back as well. And then lastly, the notification option. Through the web portal, there is an option to address your preferences, and there is a 10-minute before option that can be set up for customers to get a notification 10 minutes before the service.
Great, thanks, Michelle. Christine?
Pat, excuse me. If someone has already spoken once, there's a lot of people online that's been trying to get in and to speak. So if you're already spoken once, would it okay to skip them over and then take someone who hasn't spoken yet?
Sure. Yep, everyone on the screen, though, has not spoken yet. So if you...
Alan had already spoken, and Leah Dotton has already spoken. Yes. So I'm just...
Okay, if folks online are okay with sending their question through the chat, I can make sure that gets to the RIDE team as well, if folks prefer. But I'm going to go in the order that the hands are raised. Thanks, Rhoda. Christine?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I cannot raise my hand. Is there a way you can raise my hand so I'll have a turn eventually? I've been trying since I came into the meeting, and I'm not getting any raise hand option. So is there a way? And then I'm happy to wait.
Sure. To be frank, we only have 10 minutes and we're not going to get through everyone. So Gina, if you're able to send it in the chat, that'd be great. Otherwise, I'll make sure to follow up with you after the meeting.
Okay, I'm not able to send in the chat. So yeah, I'll wait for you to follow up with me.
Okay.
Thank you. And I just want to share that if Kat pushes those questions to us, we will make sure you all get answers.
Great. Thank you, Gina. Christine?
Hello, how are you? All right.
Doing well.
Okay, so I have a concern, especially as a guide dog user, or soon to be guide dog user. If we're supposed to put our bags in our foot space, where's the dog gonna go? Because the dogs are trained to go in our foot space. So if we have to put the bags, on the seat, or the cart on the seat, then where does the next passenger go? Are they gonna ride skates in the back of the car? I don't know.
I can follow up with you separately. We'll make sure we make note of your question, and I'll follow up.
Okay, thank you.
I think there are more people who want to know the answer to the question, Michelle.
Probably, because there are a lot of guide dog users.
The idea in general is placing the personal items in your personal space, but I can take a look at this and bring it back to the team.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Christine, for bringing that up. Bailey?
Hey, I am a single adult female, and I am also a blind individual, completely blind. So I have a few concerns. One is the ride drivers are always having a hard time finding me, and I'm constantly the one getting blamed, even though I leave notes with dispatch and everything else, and it just never gets the message never gets spread. I don't know, but it's caused me a lot of really uncomfortable situations. And I've been blamed often by the bride drivers, and it's led to some really uncomfortable situations and confrontations. And also, I get sexually harassed all the time by ride drivers, and I'm really fed up with it. And I report it all the time, and it's never ending, and it's so stressful, and it's caused me so many anxiety attacks that I'm hesitant to take the ride, but I like can't get anywhere without it.
Can I ask your name?
Bailey?
Thank you for sharing that with me. These are serious concerns, and I will have a team member follow up directly with you about these issues. Do you have the?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bailey, I'll make sure to share your contact information. Kobina?
Hi. Couple of comments. One about the personal space. I'm a little curious about it because similar to what the person who just spoke a couple of speakers ago about guide dog users. If the dog has to be in their personal space, where are they supposed to go? But even forget about guide dogs. The average person, if they get in a van, the space between two seats is so small. You can, apart from yourself, I don't see where you're going to put something else. So imagine someone who has a shopping cart, they're supposed to put in their personal space. So now they're going to take bags out of a shopping cart, put them someplace. I don't know where that will be. And then put the shopping cart in some quote unquote personal space. And the amount of time that whole process is going to take, that's going to make the trip even longer than having the driver help secure the shopping cart somewhere in the back or wherever. So you guys seriously need to reconsider that policy. That's one. The second thing that I think I want you guys to address is I happened to take the ride on the first day it started. So initially I chalked it up to maybe it's a new thing. The drivers, two of them told me they couldn't see where they're going until they started the trip. In other words, whether there's going to be one or two people before I got dropped off, they were telling me they couldn't see that until they start the trip. And I really feel you guys should, if that's true, you guys should find a way to let the driver know, because if they're already late for me, right? Say that they're supposed to drop me off someplace and it's 20 minutes before my drop off, they just came. I would appreciate knowing that way I can choose to actually go on the trip or not, rather than tell me, no, you need to start the trip and then we'll tell you we're going to go to Timbuktu first before we bring you back. I think that's unfair. If in fact that's true, that's what the driver told me. I don't know, but you guys, if it's true, you need to look at that issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Kobina.
That is true. And that is intentional because that is part of real-time optimization. And what real-time optimization does is it takes a look constantly at the trips, at available vehicles and available drivers, and it shifts them around to provide the optimal path of travel and customer pickup. So that is subject to change, and that's why it's not displayed for drivers.
Thank you. Leah? You're currently muted. All right, I'll move on to Elizabeth Ann.
Hi, everyone. I would like to say for this new spare program, I do really, really love that the idea when you call to make your reservations, they are able to give you the window of your pickup time. And if it's not a time that's conducive for you, you can do right there, like adjustments, to you get close to where you can be picked up and dropped off the time. So I really, really, really do like that part of the program. Um, and two other things, um, when I had taken the ride about a week ago, I was sitting, I always try to be ready for when the ride comes. So I was sitting and waiting for my pickup, and I got a call from dispatch to say the driver was there. I said, well, no one came to ring my bell because in the past, the drivers come to ring my bell. I note that in my reservations when I make it, ring bell number 1. So I said, no one's come to ring my bell. No drivers here. So he said, yes, they're there. So I said, well, hold on. I will go out and look. And, while you stay on the phone because I'm blind. So I go out and the driver's there outside. So I said, well, I've been waiting for you. Why did you not come and ring my bell? He claims that he's not supposed to come inside to ring anybody's bell anymore. There's to stay outside. And I said, well, I don't know if that's true or not, but drivers have come into the vestibule of my apartment building to ring my doorbell. And I told him, I said, well, I can't stand out here for more than 10 minutes. I have back issues, and it's very difficult for me to stand any length of time. So can you clarify that, whether it's true or not? And then with the baggage, I sometimes when I take trips to Logan Airport, I bring one. I always try to bring one piece of luggage on the ride. So are you saying, and the driver always, they never, it's always tied up, tied down with like the wheelchair tie down in the very back of the ride, where it will hinder no one having an accident, tripping over it or nothing? That's always been with a safety with the ride, doing that with my piece of luggage. So are you saying now that I can no longer do that? I would have to put the piece of luggage in the front of the seat with me, between my legs or wherever?
Great. Thanks, Elizabeth Ann. I'll let Michelle respond, and then we do unfortunately have to end the meeting.
Okay, Elizabeth Ann, thank you for your concern. I'm going to start with the notes potentially on your account. We did not change any policy with respect to meeting somebody at the door. So I would like to capture your information, that trip in particular, and take a look at it and address the driver behavior as necessary. And then secondly, I would like to follow up separately with you on your concern about luggage. Kat will get your information and we'll follow up.
Yep.
That's it.
Our interpreters have hopped off, so unfortunately we do need to end the meeting. I think the rest of...
I don't believe this.
Wilma, I can reach out to you tomorrow. Did you sign up to the meeting using an email?
Yes, I did.
Hello.
Okay, can I reach out to that email tomorrow and we can chat?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. My apologies.
Maybe after 3 o'clock or around 4 o'clock.
Okay, sounds
Right.
good. I will reach out and make sure that
Thank
you
you
get.
very much. I appreciate that.
Yep, no problem. For
Can I
folks who are
say
in
one more thing? How are you gonna reach out to me, Elizabeth Ann?
do you have your email too?
Yes, but you can reach out to me after 4:30. Is that okay?
Sure, will do.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all for joining. I will, figure out a way to post these questions and answers for everyone to be able to get them. Thank you for your patience and grace, and I hope to see you all at the next RTAG meeting. I don't know, sometimes